Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the program. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Mark Goldberg, and this is Mark Vlogs Watches. Now, I'm going to just kind of humph and fump and rabble-rouse for a little while I wait for the punters to come into the room for this completely unscheduled rebel stream, rebel stream. It's going to take a little while for people to come in. I will have a topic. We are going to talk about the impending imminent divorce between Bear Clooney and Starchy Luxury. We're going to talk all about it. And then if there's time left over, we'll chit-chat about Rolex, the rancher, everything going on. There are people coming into the room now. Most of you are not going to watch this live. However, most of you will be watching this as a replay, in which case just push ahead 3-4 minutes and I'll be into the topic at hand, which is will Clyde Anderson, attorney at law, represent Bear Clooney in the divorce action in family court? Okay, guys. Well, let me say hello to some people who have arrived here. Of course, Valen Greymoon, as always, welcome. And you are indeed the first fist. Sydney Watch fan, hello to you. And O'Neill M, hey from Chicago. And hey from the Chicago burbs. There you go. And Kevin, I hate you, Kevin, Lakeland, Florida. I wish I was in Florida right now. Typical Chicago. Actually, you know what? I probably should be grateful for this. It's an atypical Chicago winter. There's just a little bit of snow on the ground. It's just a little bit of gray, cold, and miserable. But, here we are. All right, guys. I'm going to let me just quick check my texts just to see if the rancher wants to be joining me. I don't really think so. But if he does, I'll bring him on in. Hang on. Is he in? No, he's not. Okay. The amount of information that I have regarding what happened between Bear Clooney and Archie Luxury yesterday is fairly limited. And I'm going to tell you why it's limited. Because I don't watch Archie. And I think I'll probably get as personal about why I don't really watch Archie. I'm going to start there. And then we'll move into the Bear Clooney thing. But I feel like, guys, if I've got any sort of personal bias, I should reveal it right here. And, I think I do. I think I do have personal bias. Let's start with the Archie of old. Archie 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. He was a pioneer. And you can't take that away from him. He was a pioneer. But Archie is one of those old fading actresses who, despite multiple bouts of plastic surgery, his career has just faded into a former shadow of itself because he's tired. His creativity has run dry. He has nothing left, and that's really clear. The Archie of old was hysterical. He was funny. You never heard people talking like Archie Luxury 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago was the Howard Stern of his time. He pioneered talking stupid about watches, calling watches shitters, and really pointing people at buying used watches, which at the time was cheaper than buying new watches, and yet met resistance. He met resistance from the watch buying public. So I got to give credit where credit is due. Archie was a brilliant entertainer, and he drew in a lot of people. But over the years, he got tired. And I guess I can understand that too. And it's because YouTube, I have a YouTube channel. I mean, actually, this channel that you're watching right now is much bigger, more than double the number of subscribers that Archie has on his live stream channel. But it's taken me like 4 years to build up this number of subscribers. And if you do subscribe, thank you so much for being with me. And if you don't, push the button. Let's do this again together soon. So I've got 27,000 subscribers and 7 million views. 7 million views. That's crazy. That is entirely crazy. But I'm not the biggest watch channel by, my friend Bruce Williams got a watch channel 4 or 5 times bigger than me. Random Rob, Archie's regular channel, Archie's normal channel is like double this one. But why isn't it? Why have people come along and surpassed Archie? Why are people kicking the snot out of Archie in terms of subscribers and views? Well, it's because he can't be bothered to do what made him famous. Guys, feel free to leave your comments and your thoughts on this issue, and then I will jump into them so that we can talk to you and with you about what's happened here. But I mean, in a certain sense, I feel like we might have Clyde to blame, because Archie found the super chat. When Archie discovered, when YouTube enabled the super chat, Archie discovered it, and he was sort of like a pig finding truffles, except for he was the pig that you couldn't control. He wasn't going to find the truffle in return for an apple. He was going to find the truffle and eat it, and all of them. And so he uprooted the entire field. And Archie has just become completely unstoppable about on the subject of the super chat, because it's let's face it, it's easy money. But there is one thing that you theoretically have to do to get the super chat, and that is you have to show up. All right. And so Clyde said, hey, Paul, if you are, hang on, you know what? Let me just post the link here. Guys, give me a sec. I don't even know how to do it. I forget. It's been so long since bear with. I'm not copy. Okay. I'm just going to post the link. And if you're Clyde, come in. If you're not Clyde, don't. Okay. So link is posted. Anyway. All right. I mean, you can come in if you want to. Just, don't be a putz. Clyde was doing this show with Archie once or twice a week. And Clyde said, hey, you could do this 3 times a week. You could do this 7 times a week. And so thus began the overexposure of Archie. And the whole idea of a panel was necessary to Paul, because talking to you the way I'm doing now, it requires a little bit of thought, a little bit of creativity, requires some energy, and Paul couldn't be bothered. Not after doing it 7 days a week. So he brought in a panel of people, and thus started the slow decline of his show, because rather than focus on people like, the original Cardinals, I wasn't even an original Cardinal. I was a secondary Cardinal. I think the original Cardinals were Clyde and Hisham and Bruce and Jin and Tan. And then, I horned my way in there, and we devoted a lot of time to Archie. But it began to get stupid as Archie ripped off his clothes, and did things for Clyde. Clyde's calling me, but he's knocking me right off of the stream. Clyde, I can't take your call right now, Clydesy, but I gave you the link. The link is in when someone calls me, it just kind of like knocks me off the air. Okay. And I know Jen is back, and I know that Tan is back to a certain degree. But what happened with Archie is the panel began to become important to him, because what a panel did for him is it meant that he didn't have to work hard. And, if you know anything about Archie's channel, it has pretty much ceased to become a watch-oriented channel, although in the last day or so, it has returned to its roots, and we're going to talk about that too. But it by and large ceased to become a watch channel, and it just became a soap opera, a big homo back scratch, and I'm the gay one. But let me tell you what, that the homo club that is the Archie Luxury Show is offensive even to me as a proud and out gay man. Let me tell you what, it's just a bunch of stroke jobs and reach arounds on that channel. Archie began to do less and less, and he depended more and more on the ridiculous drama of that panel. And honestly, it became very difficult to watch unless you really liked that level of drama, which, I personally did. Now, let's talk about the relationships that are involved. Normally, if you would devote yourself in friendship to a person and give them hundreds and hundreds of hours of your time and your creativity, you're doing it from some sense of friendship. But eventually what I realized is I was in that foxhole when I was a big part of the Archie show. I was in that foxhole not because of Archie, because he gave nothing. I am not talking about money. I'm talking about any normal semblance of the give and take of friendship. None of that was there. Archie is a user. He is not a giver. He uses people for his own ends, and people let him. So then there's nothing wrong with, listen, if you're a complete narcissist like Archie and you want to take advantage of people and they want to let you, that's fine. But eventually it gets old. So because really people have no value to Archie. Even the punters have no value to Archie. The super chats have value to Archie. The truffle, the greed, that's all that counts. There's really no sense of loyalty there whatsoever. That's what drove Clyde out. You'll remember the famous, I made an article, I made a video about it that also became famous. So you can look through my videos. I think it was like Clyde and Archie, what happened, is something similar. That's the name, something like that. And it was, and in there, I have that moment when Clyde stuck his face in the camera, and he goes, "Archie, you have no friends," because Archie was saying, "I thought you were my friend," and Clyde's like, "You have no friends," and then he hung up, and he was gone for years. Although he's in and out now a little bit. And it's the truth of the matter. People like Archie, they have no friends. So I know some things about his personal life that I'm going to be very circumspect about sharing, because I don't want to dox him. But let's just say his personal relationships, his most personal relationships, are flawed, damaged, and are almost, people that you would normally have strong relationships with in your life, he doesn't have. And there's a reason for that. It's because what you see on YouTube is amusing when it's on YouTube, but it's not amusing when it's in your house. Watching an ape or a chimpanzee is a lot of fun when you're watching it at the zoo, but it's not so fun in your living room because they fling their own poo and the furniture flies. Archie is a user. So you'll remember people like Clyde, who spent so much time with Archie, myself, who spent less, but still a lot, Suck-a-Horn, and now Bear Clooney. Archie doesn't have a single relationship that hasn't fallen completely apart, because all he does is use people. And then eventually anybody who's close to Archie will find themselves to be the clown in the dunk tank, so that the super chats can throw money to dunk the clown. I got banned there for, I think, like 3 months. And when you and all I was doing was going on there to help him out, right? And when you examine the daily rate of my ban, it was like $6 a day. There's nothing sacred to the man. There's nobody he won't screw over for $6. And did it hurt my feelings? No. But there's no point in being the dancing bear. Sorry, Bear, because I got a lot to say about Bear and Bear Clooney. We're gonna have to talk about Bear in a minute. My relationship with Bear, and then Archie's. So we are getting to that. But nobody wants to be the clown in the dunk tank. Now there are some people who are just so desperate for attention, and I would say, Tanzil, I love you. You're one of my ho-bros, my horological brothers, but you are desperate for attention, son. And the reason I say that is Archie used the N-word on your entire race of people, which, by the way, caused me to not go on Archie for like 60 days. I was so disgusted by the racism. Yet there you are. There you are. And I guess I can't blame you, because I came back too. But what won't we forgive him? There's something wrong with the dynamic. Okay, let's jump over to Bear and Bear Clooney for just a moment. So we're gonna hop off of Archie. We're gonna hop onto Bear. Keep making the comments. I will come back around and address all this for you guys, and we'll talk about my channel too. Bear and I got off to a terrible start, and I think it was my fault. Now we've put that behind us, which is like the nicest thing that's come out of him being on Archie. But let me swing back, and I got to go back, man, easily 5 years to how Bear and I got off to a bad start, and why I have to sort of cop to my role in it. And by the way, I didn't even understand my role in it until very, very recently, when I kind of put it all together. But you're going to have to come back with me now to a Facebook group called Modern Day Watch Enthusiasts, started by my friend Dennis Van Patten, who is one of the brightest, most wonderful people I know. But one of the things that Dennis is amazing at is watches, especially vintage watches. He's like a genius in that area. And the other thing, his other specialty is trolling, internet trolling. He's very, very good at both of those. And so he put them together into this group called MDWE. And I was one of the OG members over there. And I still have some good friends that came out of that. So I'm so glad I was a member there. But let me tell you what, if you wanted to join our group, and thousands of people did, if you wanted to join our group, you got jumped in, like you were jumped into the gang. The first thing we did was we put you in the center of a circle and we beat the living crap out of you, and your opinions were stupid, and we just beat up on you. And that was the culture of MDWE. It was baptism by fire. And we even had a side group for the OG members where we would talk about the new kids and how we were going to, gang bang them. And when I look back on that, I think, what was wrong with me? I was a complete dick when I was an admin on that group. And Mike came in, and y'all know Mike, Bear Clooney, his real name is Mike. He came in strong because he's an opinionated individual. Hello. In some ways we are far too alike. And the strong, opinionated version of ourselves is very much the way we operated. And Mike came in like he had no shame in his game, and we were going to teach him a lesson. And so very quickly, he and I came to loggerheads very, very quickly. And one thing was, you could not fuck with an admin over there on MDWE, or you found yourself timed out, you found yourself mocked, you put in the corner, you got banned. Then once you were banned, we were nuts. We put you into a group called MDWE Guantanamo. And you could linger there for years, and you had to beg and plead for like a really long period of time and eat a lot of shit, before you would get let back in to MDWE. But some people did, but other people lingered in Guantanamo, literally Facebook group private called MDWE. So stupid. But oh my God, MDWE Guantanamo. Anyway, this was the mindset that I had, when I first met Bear, and he wasn't having it. So I had to ban him. I'll tell you what, I had the unique pleasure of banning Bill Sanders for the same way, the same reason. The difference is that Bear Clooney turns out to be a hell of a guy, and Bill Sanders turns out to be Bill Sanders. So him and I making up is very unlikely to happen. But anyway, I was a proper dick. And it was only fairly recently that I realized how awful I've been, or I was back then, because I just kind of like slowly drifted away from MDWE as I got more and more into you guys and YouTube. And one of the things that I discovered as my channel sort of, built and moved along, one of the things that I discovered was I was actually much better as a host here. On YouTube. When I dropped the nasty act, when I just became more like me, more, I guess, true to who I am, which is more like a relatively upbeat, happy person. And that didn't really fit the MDWE dynamic. Not only that, but I got more and more and more into Rolex, and MDWE doesn't like Rolex. So I took a second look at MDWE recently, and I realized we had drifted apart. Now, Dennis Van Pan and I are never going to drift apart. He is my blood brother. I love this guy. Okay, he's a wonderful person. But that group and in fact, that group is regrouping and trying to rebuild, and they will, because Dennis is a great guy. And they'll make it better than it was. They really will. But I was just done. And then I started reflecting on how Bear and I became such bitter enemies on Facebook, social media, YouTube. And then I realized, I miss Archie Luxury a little, which is a little bit like missing chlamydia. I grant you it is, but nonetheless, there is something compelling about it. And I had to go through him to get back on. And as we started talking more, I realized, shit, I like Mike. I don't like Archie. I like Mike. Mike's the only interesting thing on that Archie show. And I kept thinking to myself, why did he and our collections are very, very similar. I mean, he has some watches that I don't have because he gets, I think, even better AD access than I do. But if he has a watch, I either want it or I have it. And the same can be said, vice versa. And I kept thinking, we're so similar. How did it all start so bad? And I realized, oh yeah, because I was a dick. So I told him. And that really made a great repair. So then he and I started texting, and then I decided I got to get off the Archie show, and he kept trying to get me back in. And then again, I got off of there because I was treated like like a guy sitting at the dunk tank. If I go back to Archie, here's what's going to happen: somebody will give him $20 to ban me for 6 weeks, and he'll do it because $20 is $20. He could eat lunch for $20. And so I left, Clyde left, most people of reasonably good conscience left. Some people are willing to debase themselves over there for a little bit of internet fame, but I have you guys. I have 27,000 of you people. So I would much rather talk to you. This channel actually makes a little bit of money when I make a lot of videos, which I haven't done lately, which we'll talk about in a moment. But I'm not in it. Literally, it's not about the money. It's about the passion. Because I don't care about the money off of this channel, unlike Archie. And that's the thing. When you do YouTube for money, it changes the dynamic to the point where not only does the fun go out of it, but I think the entertainment does too. Think about some of your favorite YouTubers who started small and then they got big and they became corporate, and just I give Bruce a lot of credit because he grew big. He's not done growing, but Bruce is still Bruce. Okay. He's still every bit as good when he started with like nothing. But there are people like TGV, who started little and were interesting and they just got really corporate, and he's not the only one like that. Okay. So what happened with Bear? Well, I wasn't watching. As near as I can figure, Archie, there were a loyalty test came where Bear really needed somebody off. This guy Plastic, who I don't defend him, don't attack him. I'm doing neither. I don't know this guy. But all I know is if Bear said, I can't function with this guy on your show, with the amount of work that Bear was doing for Archie, which was carrying the whole show for him, dealing with all the punters, dealing with any strategy such as it was there, helping Archie succeed despite the fact that Archie was doing nothing. Archie should have said, you got it, Bear. If that's what you need, I'm going to give it to you. But Archie couldn't do it. He couldn't bear to get rid of somebody who might give him $5. We should put the pin in this and then jump off of Mike, Bear Clooney, and jump back to John Suckerhorn, who was Bear before Bear was Bear on the Archie show, as it were. And John used to do all this. Every time I was mad at Archie years ago, Suckerhorn would be on my case in a good way. He's a nice guy and he's a very decent guy, but he was sort of like the brains of the operation behind the brainlessness of Archie. And every time I got mad, I'd hear from John and he'd talk me into going back on. So John really ran a lot of interference for Archie until I don't know what happened, whether they had a falling out. John says they didn't to me. He said that. But I don't want to reveal too much because, John, I have respect for you and I don't want to talk out of school, but I don't think it's any secret that you don't feel well used by Archie, that you still have feelings, unrequited feelings of friendship. Rancher, I see you in the lobby. I'll get you in here in a minute. But let's just say I think that it's my assessment based on personal contact with Jono Suckerhorn, is that he feels ill-used by Archie. And I think Mike feels the exact same way. Now, there are a lot of rumors out there currently that Mike is only off the show. Today, I heard them lying on the show. I heard Paul Archie say that Goldberg, the dog trainer, left the show of his own accord. That's wrong. You banned me for like $6 a day. And I heard that this is a planned business trip. Bear will be out of town for 1 to 2 weeks. and then he'll be right back on Archie, and all this is Bear helping to drum up drama and money for Archie. That's not true either, unless Bear Clooney is fooling me entirely, and I don't think so. Let's find out what the rancher thinks. I think this is real. What do you think, rancher? Is this real?
I think you should unblock Bear and let him on. He's actually in the background, like knocking.
Oh, hold on.
Well, I did, because that's why I tried to call.
I'm down, Clyde. Clyde, stop talking. Help me out. How do I don't know how to unban him. How do I do it?
Wait a minute. Alexa, why can't the elderly use YouTube? Oh, it's not plugged in.
All right, hold on, guys. Clyde, you entertain them for a minute. And okay, so Alexa, quiet. I've put Clyde back into the lobby where he will remain because he's a dick. But I am going to try and figure out how to unban Bear. If you can hear me, calm down. I'm going to find you. I think I might have to do it on. All right, Rancher, I'm going to let you back in to quietly entertain the troops while I go on my phone and figure out how to unban him. All right. Behave, because I got to figure out how to do this. All right.
Well, I think, God, I barely know how to do the computer, much less the phone. Oh, Richard, thanks. That's so nice, man. But, all right. Let me see. Let's go in. Oh, no. No, we're both on Macs, right?
I'm on my phone trying to figure this out.
Okay.
I mean, this is a problem. I don't know how to unban anybody. Give me a minute. I'm farting around in here to see if I can figure it out.
Dashboard content.
Hey, watch your pronunciation. I think I got to go into my YouTube creator studio in YouTube. So I'll be back. You're supposed to be talking to cover me, Clyde.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, here's another thing. You could basically type in. There's this thing called the internet. You could type, "How do I unblock someone on YouTube?"
I'm making it work. Tell me a little bit about how you talk Archie into going every day, and why that basically this is your fault.
And let me say, actually, Paul just called and gave basically, I just got out of the hospital and called and expressed concern and care, which was nice.
You mean he pretended to express concern and care?
And basically he said, you have an open invitation. No one's forcing you to, but if you want something, you'll always feel free to come on. I said, thank you very much.
An open invitation to help him make money. Am I right there? Now I'm getting closer to finding Bear, so give me a minute.
You're getting closer to finding Bear. Is that some sort of euphemism?
Yes. But $2
Australian dunk tank contribution. Actually, that was a beautiful way to put it. We get to line up and sit in the dunk tank.
Okay, I found. Or give me a
Unlike
minute.
Jim, who lines up to sit in the truck. No, never mind.
Okay, hold on. I have found the place where I got to unban him. Give me a second. I'm looking. Man, you should see the amount of
luxury. $2 Australian dunk tank fund. How long before the plunger drops?
I've actually unbanned Archie just now. Let me. I don't think he'll want to come on, but just in case he does, I've unbanned Archie. I'm looking for Bear, and I'll find him and I'll unban him. But when I read these names on the list, I'm like, man, there are some badasses in the.
Oh yeah.
In this group, wow.
Hey,
there's you know what, Clyde? Well, hold on. One of the band accounts is Clive's Donkey Balls. I think we'll leave that one banned unless it's you. Pol Pot is another one that's banned.
Now, is that Paul as in P-A-U-L or P-O-L as in the Khmer Rouge leader?
As in the you-know-who. Yes. The
Khmer Rouge leader. Okay.
Yes. Oh, my God. I've got hundreds of people's banned. It's going to take me a minute.
Wait, you know who? It's like, okay, he's a narcissist communist leader from Cambodia. It's not like he's Voldemort.
He killed like 1 million people. Listen, it should be a little easier. They need to make this easier to unban people, because they should allow you to do a lookup, but you can't. You got to scroll through every one of these idiots, remembering all these horrible people. Like here's one: Tanzil Ansari Sand N-word. Like that was an account. Well, and which of course came out. That's what came out of Archie's mouth, which is why I left that show for a couple of months, because I just it was appalling.
Not to mention someone else, like was it Tan Ansari's suicide vest or whatever? Because that's patently offensive. And the thing is, he let us know, hey, that deeply offends me. That's really, really, really out of, that's off limits. Please don't do that. I'm like, okay, and we're like, okay, we didn't go back there. We didn't say, well, we won't go back there for a couple of weeks because we're not.
So you stopped doing it?
Yeah.
It wasn't you. Was it you? Horrible. Did I ban you? I would have banned you. I would ban you for that.
No,
I didn't think it was you. All right, hold on. I'm looking. Bear Clooney, I'm going to find you. There it is. I found him. Okay. He is officially unbanned. Now let me save. Jesus. Oh, okay. So hold on. Now I got to go back.
I got it. I'm on top of it. I know where you're going.
Right.
As usual, I'm half a step ahead of you.
One step ahead of me. Okay. So Tanzil says Clive's donkey balls was a gentleman and a scholar. Oh my God. And he had big nuts. That he did. Okay. So we'll see if Bear Clooney wants to come on. Let me tell you guys, the reason that I didn't invite him on in the first place, I didn't even remember that he was banned on this channel, because he and I have become friends. And, and I have a lot of respect for him.
Close friends. Personal friends. Very close personal friends.
I'm down, Clive.
We're not dear.
Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous. We're not butt buddies like you and me. However, Mike and I have set aside all sorts of bad feelings, and we realized, that we sort of had an affinity for one another. So that's what we're going with. I contacted him the other day. I asked him to do a Rebel stream with me, Clyde. And Clyde, what I asked him to do was if he wanted to form the ex-wives club, which would be you, him, me, and Suckerhorn, so that we would do a regular broadcast called the Archie, ex-wives club. But he didn't want to do it. So he felt he needed some time to reflect and heal.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him, for that. He may not know exactly even what he wants to do yet. Clivers, hope you're feeling better. A lot of people were asking, and the community was concerned.
Yeah. And actually, I made approachments with, Patrick Philippe. And he's mended fences, and Ving Tenier and Tanzil Ansari. But the nice thing is that the positive thing, this has brought together Tang once again.
America's favorite. Listen, the best part?
Tanzil and Ving Tenier, Tang. Yes. North America's favorite biracial same-sex couple.
Yes. Clyde, the best part about your recent hospitalization and near-death experience?
What's that?
I just made $5 Canadian on that. That's what, and that is Archie luxury. Remember? Okay.
Well, that's really amateurish.
Explain.
It's only $5.
Canadian. This is really like $3.50. Listen, Clyde, remember when Archie celebrated the anniversary of Blue Shirt Buddha's death by making money on his funeral? This is the kind of person that we're dealing with. Actually, I wasn't on that night because I couldn't stand the very idea of Archie profiting off of the death of Blue Shirt, who was a wonderful guy, one of the Cardinals, one of the Hobros. And Mike Bear texted me and he said, "Come on, we're going to do a tribute to Blue Shirt." And I said, "Mike, it's appalling and offensive." And he goes, "I don't blame you." He goes, "I don't blame you." Okay, apparently I missed a super chat. Somebody's telling me, I missed Bear's super chat. Bear, where are you? Bear, where's Bear? And why isn't Bear in here? The drunk tank fund. How long before the plunger drops?
No, I don't see any soup. I'm going through. Maybe it came. Of course, it came along. May have came along before I did.
Here's the drunk tank fund contribution. I'm going to scroll all the way back. I don't see Bear, but I would like to get Bear here. You know, if he wants to.
Now, Richie Luxury. Make sure Richie Luxury says, Mark, you could beat everyone if you made more bids.
What is hand pink waving? Hey, probably like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's run through these. It's not the same show if Richie Luxury. It's not the same show if he's not drunk and cussing. I will say this is interesting. That I did tune in briefly to Archie. He posted a show up from this morning, I think, and he was talking watches. And the reason he was talking watches is because he doesn't have Bear there to run the whole show, and so he can ignore his entire show. He had to actually work. And Bear is in the lobby, and we're going to let him in 2 seconds, guys. But my prediction is that Archie will quickly become overworked and overwhelmed because he's having to do Bear's job, which is to run the Archie Luxury show. Speaking of which, we have Bear Clooney. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey,
Bear, let's start with the following question, and then I want to let you make any statement you want. I want you to correct me if I've been wrong about anything. But first, let me apologize for having jumped you into the MDWE group when you were just trying to be I was a dick. And that's
you did already. You don't have to apologize so many times. All good.
We got over it.
Look, the ex-wives, give him time to quietly cry into his white wine with dignity before you immediately throw the pool boy at him.
Well, I was really, working my way up to, asking him out on a date, but I'm going at this my way.
A little premature.
Actually, to be honest, you do. You got a super chat. Somebody's
look at that, Mike. You can't stand but not do the job. Showing up in honor of the Mark and Bear reunion. Bear, thank you so much, showing up, and I am honored that Bear is here. So, answer your question, Bear. Let's start with this.
Sure.
They're saying on that show, as of today, that this is a hoax. It was pre-planned, and that you are, in fact, you'll be back in a week. That this was all part of the plan.
No, nothing of that nature. To be honest with you, I kind of don't want to even be on a YouTube anymore. I feel quite tired, sick of the whole experience. I need complete break from the YouTube. And Tanzil actually told me that you're streaming. I saw the title of the stream, and I basically had to say hi. So I'm on the stream primarily because of you. No, I don't. I'm not playing any games. I'm not doing anything to hype up the crowd. It's a very toxic environment. It's a very toxic situation there. To summarize, I was Archie's shield. I was doing everything that to help out the show. I was fighting fights with trolls. I was fighting with haters. I was fight with another channel. And then instead of having a support in a team, I was being backstabbed on a daily basis. And that's actually the part that really kicked basically straw that broke the camel's back. And then as a cherry on the top is that dear Archie was, as usually, indecisive, timid, not willing to do literally anything. And I finally had enough.
So anybody who says that this was a plan that was planned out in advance for you to help Archie raise more money, they're lying. Would that be an accurate statement?
100%. They know that this is not planned. I'll be honest with you, Mark. I don't know. I was very genuine about my feelings in my goodbye speech. I don't hate Archie. I don't wish him bad. I have a lot of positive feelings about him as a human being. I care about him just as much as you do. But
No,
I
no, you
don't.
care about him a lot more than I do.
I just don't want to be there anymore. Or to be honest with you, Mark, I don't want to be on YouTube. It's a very nasty place. Or maybe sometime outside the Archiverse will change that. But right now, I feel nauseated thinking about YouTube.
Super
Let me
chat.
make
Super
that
chat.
up. Yeah, all right, we'll do that, and then I'll give you just my word of advice as an OG member of the Ex-Wives Club.
Okay.
Dan Still says, now that we have Bear here, we need full circle on the Clive mug that I was never gifted, but Bear torpedoed into the garbage bin. Well, that is a fair
We're going to solve this right now. Okay, Bear, I
Yes.
want you to give Tanzil the GPS coordinates for the garbage can.
for the
Yeah,
mug.
but
It was
the handle broke. The mug did not break. The
As
That's
handle.
a tough mug. I have to admit, I was really impressed with
Fuck
it.
me, that, or I was just a fucking sissy thrower.
And then when you picked up the mug, was I smiling?
You know, Bear, I often said that you were never going to make this. You were never going to make Bear. This was before you and I had the rapprochement, and so I often, that's French for reach around.
Yeah.
And Bear, I often said that you were never going to make the Serbian mug tossing team because you threw it with your pinky out, and that was the problem.
You noticed that? Fuck me, that. Yeah, I did.
Bear, did you ever see the show Lads Army or Bad Lads Army?
No.
Reality show? Okay,
No.
then you would totally not get the mug throwing reference from that show. Forget it. Sorry.
Okay.
You're never
No
making
problem.
the Olympic mug tossing team. But I want to see, on a serious note, I want to give you a word of advice, and we'll see if the rancher wants to back me up on this or if his is different. But I understand exactly how you feel. You were in a trench, like a World War I trench, with a bunch of guys trying to achieve an objective. But the guy that you were trying to achieve it for gave you no help. And in fact, made it harder for you to do what you perceived as your job. You did that job.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. You summarize it perfectly. That's exactly that.
And I think that the reason you wanted to do the job in the first place was the reason that all of us, in this little circle right now, did, and that is because we had a high regard for for what Archie Luxury was, and in the beginning of our own adventures into watch collecting, he was such a presence that we wanted to be part of it and ultimately to help him.
Correct.
What we found was, not only will he not let you help him, he'll take whatever he can get from you, but there is no sense of friendship. There is no sense of loyalty. He talks, I love you, I love you, I love you so much. And then that is reflected in no way in any of his actions. So, and there's a name for this, and that name is narcissistic personality disorder. So if you look that up, you will find a lot of information, about Archie. And it's hard to be around people like that because they're charismatic. You want to do stuff for them. They suck you in, but then they use you up and find somebody else. So you will be replaced eventually. Somebody will emerge to take your place. And there's a bunch of them vying for it right now. The problem will be to find somebody adequate like you, and that's going to be tough. But here's my advice. Take the break that you're talking about and understand YouTube is whatever you want to make it. You have a channel, Mike, Bear Clooney Watches. I know you haven't done a video in a while, and you might not feel like doing it you might need to clear your mind for 6 months before the creativity comes back. But my recommendation is you make a video, explain yourself, and then fuck it all, start talking about watches and review watches in your video. You have a lot of thoughts, express them, and then go through your comments, and any comment that is criticism, respond to it. Any comment that is cruel, hide that person from your channel. And in 60 days, your channel will please you because the supportive people or the people with critically good ideas will be there. But the people who are there to make you feel bad, which is a lot of people, can be made to disappear in an instant, which is why I have hundreds of people banned on my channel. If you're consistently shitty and I wake up, and I look at what you have to say and I can't learn from it, if it's critical, if it's just intended to wound, then you're disappeared and I'll never see your comments again. You you can make of YouTube what you want. It is a reflection of what you want it to be. So lie down with dogs, wake up with fleas, make good videos, and deal with the punters like we're doing right now, and you will wind up with a happy, creative experience. And not only that, it'll even make you a couple bucks here and there, but mostly it'll give you a creative outlet, and you deserve it.
Thank you. To be very honest with you, Mark, the way I feel at the moment is more relevant to how probably Cliver felt when he completely deleted his channel, or muted it, or whatever you want to call it, simply deleted all the videos. It was just, I was placed often in a position not to be myself. Some people who knew me from Bear Clooney Watches would ask, why are you acting the way you're acting? And it's very difficult to explain to people why you're acting the way you're acting when you are consistently under certain attack. I was attacked, my business was attacked, my family was attacked. And you know what? To be honest, I dealt with everything. I think the trolls did their job. I think haters were doing their thing. I think everyone from Timmy's channel was doing their thing. But the person who wasn't doing his thing is Archibald and people around him. They were attacking me as well. And I simply could not handle all of it at once. I said to Archie, you should really, that's the great advice. You should not encourage haters to be on your channel. You should not encourage people in comments in comments hating you and being vicious toward you. So I said, you need to start banning those people. Not only that he doesn't ban them, he actually takes their advice.
Yeah.
So he would literally take advice that Bear is responsible for his downfall from a person whose account is 2 days old, or from people who go and badmouth him on other channels. He would value their advice in the same way that he would value the advice from a person who actually dedicates their time and energy for him. I didn't understand that.
Well, because there's not a lot of loyalty there. There's really.
If you would also like to interject your own personal spin into the conversation, feel free to super. Sorry.
Actually,
with the habit.
Clyde, Bear, and myself were also used to doing the job that we can barely stand to not do the job. Sadly, I'm going to have to cut this short because I have a commitment now. However, I want to thank the rancher for coming, and Bear, I want to thank you for pitching in such a sincere and honest way. And I really hope that we get to do this again. And I promise, I have you back. We'll talk about watches, because that's
beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. Now, did you say you'll have him back, or you have his back?
Well, both. And I would really like both of you guys.
One thing that disappointed me about you, Mark, that I when we talked and when I found out, is that you actually at one time thought that I am homophobic, which is quite contrary.
Well, because I'm so charming, Bear, I couldn't find any other reason for you to dislike me, and I really didn't want to dig deep. And when I did, I was like, "Oh no." Shit.
I'm quite opposite. I'm a huge supporter of the LGBT. Yeah, you know that.
I do now because of the sexual tension between us. But honestly, I did think that because I had to find some excuse that liberated me from my part in it, So.
And before we go, I wanna tell you, Cliver, I'm really happy that you are out of the hospital, that you are actually doing well. At one point in my life, I had a sepsis. I was in intense care. I almost did not make it. When I heard at one point that that's a possibility, I was genuinely worried for you. At our age, especially. But thank God everything is okay, and the old Fiker Clive is back.
Well, I'm going to end on this note. It turned out not to be sepsis. It was mad cow disease. Love you all. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
God damn it.